Queen here. Life after money. I'm keeping you in the dark today. No, not really. This is the next one, whatever number it is, of the Trucking Life series. And behind me I've got a blank wall. And I'm balancing on the fireplace here. I've got a slide projector set up opposite, and I'm going to switch that on and show about 20 slides. Now this camera is on the top of a step ladder because I don't have a tripod, and the projector is quite noisy. I'm hoping it's not going to be too noisy, so I'm just going to stand over there and switch the projector on and talk you through the slides. These are old photographs that I've had changed into slides, and I used to use them for my trucking talks. So I'm going to get over there on the projector, put the pictures on this wall and talk you through them, and hope it works. So let's give it a whirl. Okay. I forgot to say I've got to refocus every one with my little handheld gadget here. Can you still hear me? Oops. I'll move to the other side because I can now see the back of the camera. That's better. Yes, top left hand corner, my little driving school car, my Simca 1000. The coach with my nameplate on was a brand new coach that I delivered to a customer, and I did mention that I've got a forklift truck license, so there's me doing the training. And I think I mentioned as well I used to have a motorcycle. That's my Honda CX500 Custom. So next one. So just bear with me while I focus it. They're not wonderful pictures, but it's the best I can do at the moment. So Leyland Trucks, some of the earlier trucks that I used to drive. Leyland were pretty awful, to be honest. They were very hard going, very hard to drive, very difficult gearboxes. You needed muscles on your muscles to drive them. But Stanton and Staveley pipes on the top left one there, pipes that they put underground, and a little tipper lorry on the right hand side for oh cracky, what was that firm called? I can't remember now, but yeah, gypsum, British Gypsum. So let's have a look at this. This is one of the BRS jobs. You probably remember some of these pictures from the previous videos because I have actually shown them as photographs on the desk, on the table. So BRS had the contract for Taunton cider, and the bottom left was a rope and sheet, barrels of cider on a flatbed trailer. Now I can rope and sheet that trailer, and I think I could probably still do it now, even though I'm older. Eventually they changed them all to the curtain ciders, which just made the job a lot easier. So on to the next. Then we're getting on to the Leicester heavy haulage. Got my lady trucker's sun strip on the top of the windscreen there. The chappie stood on my trailer at the back there. He's unloading steel, and he is what you call a slinger. I didn't have to unload the trailers there. I just chained or strapped it down, and at the delivery point the slinger got on the back and hooked every piece up to the crane. Bear with me while I refocus with my little handheld gadget. Yeah, quite a few of Leicester heavy haulage actually. The left left hand picture there is at Brent Cross shopping centre. They were building a temporary office block on the roof of the building, so they had a crane there to lift these porter cabin type things off the trailer and put them onto the roof. The right hand top picture there is just as they were starting to put the site together to build the Channel Tunnel down in Folkestone area, that's right, Cheriton I think they called it. So we were the first to take some of the equipment down there. And the bottom picture there is the White Cliffs of Dover, and they were building a new landing stage for the boat. So the pieces I've got on the back there are the, oh just a minute, Maisie, no, come on, the cat is creating mayhem. Come on Maisie, get down, thank you. Yeah, they were building the landing stage for the boats at Dover Docks, and the sections that I've got there are the ramp that the cars drive up onto the boat. So off we go. We had a job where we regularly went down to London, and the top picture there on the left is they were building a big sort of office block thingy, big building, tall building, several floors, and they had cranes up there, and we took the concrete panels down there. We had to be in London at 7 o'clock in the morning. What I used to do was to go down the motorway the night before, go on to the Scratchwood services at the bottom of the M1, and I would set off there about 4 o'clock because I needed to get there early to beat the traffic. If I went any later I would get stuck in the traffic. So we were up and down the M1 several months actually from Colic in Nottinghamshire to take those panels down there. The bottom right is a transformer on the back of my trailer there, an electrical transformer. Mostly we got these from I'm having to rack my brains now, Leicestershire. I can visualise the place but I can't remember the name of it, but we took those transformers all over the country. So top right hand there is, well, it's just a piece of factory machinery actually, and all the weight is at the top. It's like a U shape upside down with a big tank at the top there with oil in. So that was a pig to drive around corners, because with the oil at the top and all the weight at the top, you have to stop at every roundabout and crawl around slowly because it's top heavy basically. And the bottom one is a bungalow in 2 pieces. So the bungalow there it's got everything in it. It's got the kitchen, the bathroom, it's all decorated, it's got all the lighting in it, and we had a job to take these down to Coulsdon in Surrey. I can't think where they were made now, somewhere in the Midlands, but yeah, we went backwards and forwards several times over 2 or 3 months. That load there was actually illegal. The police stopped us when we first started the job, because when you're carrying an abnormal load with a police escort and with movement orders, it has to be 1 piece on the trailer. And of course we were carrying 2 pieces on the trailer, so we then had to change our routine, and it made several more journeys because we had to take them 1 at a time, so half a bungalow on each load. But I'm trying to go through these quickly, but to be honest, each one has got a story to it. When I do a talk to a group, I do tell more about the actual job. Now, there was 2 of us on this job, and they are water filtration plants, and a very wide overhang on the trailer. They were 17 feet high, and we picked them up in Gloucestershire, and we took them to Gould Docks, where they went on a boat. So quite an eventful journey actually, because I had a tyre blowout at the back when we were in the countryside in Gloucestershire, not long after we started out. Police escort most of the way, and of course I had to stop with the tyre blowout. I had to wait there on the roadside for the tyre people to come out and put me a new tyre on. They did carry on the journey ahead of me with the other driver. He went ahead because we were actually blocking the road. So anyway, I got my tyre fixed. They'd all gone and left me, and I rang the police back to say I was ready to move. Could you come and escort? And they said, can you wait there the night until the morning? And I said, no, I cannot, because I'm actually on the road and I'm blocking the road, and I really need to get to a safe parking place. So yeah, they come and move me, and I managed to get parked up at midnight on that job. This is how to get a high load under a low bridge. Sometimes you think the job is just about impossible, but there are ways to do it. Now I've got a big boiler on the back of my trailer there, and I pulled it underneath that bridge. It had to go under the bridge because it was the only way out of the site. We couldn't lift it over the top because it was a mainline railway line, so it had to go underneath. So I pulled under as far as I could go and stopped before I hit the bridge. The crane behind me then took off the boiler off the trailer. I pulled out from underneath it, and I pulled out quite a good distance, because then they dropped that boiler down on little roller skates, and I put a chain on the back of my trailer and I dragged it through underneath the bridge on its little skates, proper purpose-built roller skates, and the crane followed it through and then was able to put that back on the trailer at the other side of the bridge. So there you go. There's always a way around these things. Just the back ends. Sometimes the load is the trailer. So on the left hand side there, a piece of quarry plant. It was quite a heavy piece. It had got one axle on the back there. So I just go along with the tractor unit and hitch up to it like I would a hitching up to a trailer. I would have a light board on the back of there to put through from the I can point contact. From the front tractor unit I would trail the light all along the side to the back and put the lights on the back. And now where did I go with that one? I can't remember. But anyway, the right hand side is another piece of quarry plant. It's what you call a batching plant. And I picked that one up somewhere in Leicestershire, I think, but I took it up to Scotland. Now that right hand one is pretty high, it's 16 foot high, so I was getting under the motorway bridges. Motorway bridges have to be 16 foot 6 or more, so I was okay on the motorway with that one. The bottom left is a boiler on a low loader trailer. The bottom right is a gearbox. Now I've got a trailer there with 4 axles. Can I point to it? 1, 2, 3, 4 axles, and you can see the gap in the middle means that the trailer is stretched out to I think around about 55 feet long, but the gearbox was loaded inside a building with 2 overhead cranes, and the bottom is not flat, so I had to put my timbers out on the trailer at different heights so that the gearbox sat on it nice and level. And the humps that you see on the top are the actual gears that they put inside the box. It's like a big iron bath actually, and the great big massive cogs that go inside. So that was Butterley Engineering at Ripley in Derbyshire. And where did I take? I know the steelworks in South Wales, Port Talbot, the South Wales. Oh! So I'm going to try not to waffle too much, but there is quite a lot of story behind these pictures. Yeah, a big stainless steel vessel. I think it looks a bit like an elephant on the back of my trailer. That was a police escort most of the way. It was pretty high, and I got Mr. Policeman to pose for the photographs when we were waiting in a lay-by for a changeover to come, because when you move from county to county, the different police come along. One lot drops you off and the other lot picks you up. So there we go. The police don't escort anymore, except for the very, very big ones. They will do them. But this type of work, now the companies have to provide their own escorts, which is usually a van. So there was 4 of us on this job. We were at Sam Smith's Brewery in Tadcaster. Now these tanks that we've got on, they are not very, they're not abnormal, they're not big, they're not large, and they're not heavy. So they would just fit on a 40-foot flat trailer. But me and another driver, we got there the night before they were due to be lifted off, and we parked in the brewery. And when we got back from the pub at 11 o'clock at night, the crane had arrived, and the crane then proceeded to set up so that it was ready for the next day's lifting. And I was absolutely fascinated by this. I made my mind up then that I would love to be a crane driver. They needed a very big crane. It's a 500-ton crane, because you can't see the distance there, but it is lifting a long, long way into the roof of that building just over there. So quite an exciting job that was. In fact, all my jobs have been exciting. This was the start of the biggest load I ever did, which was 20 feet high and 17 feet wide. There were 6 of us. We went from Snetterton in Norfolk to Trafford Park in Manchester, and these went to a sugar refinery. We were all getting ready there for the off, waiting for the police. Oh, the police are there now, look. But we had to have British Telecom with us all the way. Most of it was done at walking pace, and Telecom had to use the large, tall, high, long poles to lift the phone wires up, because, as I say, we were 20 feet high. And there was one point where we've got the electricity board there as well, because we went underneath a high voltage wires across the road, and they had to turn off the electricity when we went through it. So that was really exciting. I'm glad I didn't have to lead that one. I was somewhere in the middle. Now can you see my truck there though? Yeah, that was pretty exciting, that was. Couple more pictures of that. Yeah, the left hand one, I got the hoist from the electricity board to lift me up so that I could look down on my truck. And then the view from the back, you know, it was quite an interesting job, because they had to clear the road and so that we could all go through. This was a long load. Oh, I'm trying to focus now. The pictures are not really very well focused in the first place, so I'm trying my best to refocus them. Let me think. Intercity railway carriages, right? They came in from Italy, 8 every 2 months. So we had to have 8 vehicles down there by the boat, and the crane on the boat lifted them out of there, and we had the trailers stretched out. We stretched out to 50 feet there, no 60 feet, sorry, 60 feet stretched out, and we had to cut the headboards off the front because we had to load these carriages as far forward as we could get them, so that we could turn around corners without the carriage hitting the back of the cab. So, and the overhang at the back there's a 10-foot overhang at the back there. So when we were on a straight road, we were okay. We didn't need an escort. We needed an escort out of the docks, and then when we got to the destination, which was Birmingham, Metro Camel at Birmingham. Now these are shells, you see, there's nothing in them. So Metro Camel were taking delivery of these to fit them out inside. They've got no wheels on or nothing. That was quite a fun job actually. They were all fun jobs. So just to show you there, the front of the carriage, just missing the stack on the back by a couple of inches. And then the overhang on the back, the blocks of wood came attached to the carriage. So we just had to plonk them down, and it was so easy to fasten them down. Chains, there's a chain lock, chains back and front, and that was it. This was a brand new lorry I picked up at the motor show at the NEC, and I put it on the back of my trailer and took it to where it was built at Bedford. Yeah, that's right, just took it back there. Now with these low loader trailers, I'm getting a bit technical now, I hope you're not bored. With these low loader trailers, the trailer splits at the front end, just there. You can drop it down to the ground, right? Drop the bed down to the ground, and it's in two pieces. The trailer's in two pieces, so the front bit stays on the tractor unit because it's hitched up there, but there's a brake in it just there. So you drop it down to the ground and you pull forward, and you have to bash a couple of pins out with a big hammer to separate the front and the back. And then I just drove the yellow lorry onto the trailer and then coupled it back up again. Some drivers prefer to reverse the lorry onto the trailer, but I thought that was the easier option. Right, let's have a look at this one. This one was an owner-driver, I did mention that. When I became a freelance driver, he rang me up to ask me if I would drive for him. And I hadn't done a brick crane. You see that on the back? It's a grab. It's a brick crane which you grab packs of bricks, or I did curbstones as well. So I went with him for a day. I hitched down the M1 motorway to a service area and met him and stayed with him, and he showed me how to use that grab on the back. I had done a high-ab crane before, so I got a bit of an idea. And then he went on holiday and left me to it. And when I got that truck to drive, I was in my element. I think, oh God, this is a lovely lorry. It was beautiful. I made a point of parking the tractor unit outside my house so all my neighbours could see it, because I was so proud of it. Right. Now this is part of the Rugby Cement group. Ash Resources is part of the Rugby Cement, which I did mention. It's no longer called Rugby Cement, it's called Cemex. But anyway, the earlier trailers, you can see my name in the front. I had this job for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, but you can see it's a tipping trailer. There weren't many of these left when I did this work, but and I'm actually got my hoses attached there. There's a hose attached to the tank and into that silo there. So what I'm doing is I've pressurised the tank and it's blowing the 26 tonne of cement through into that silo. The thing about the tipping trailers is and any tipping trailer, you've got to be very careful if it's windy, and also do not tip it up too quickly, because it could very easily blow over, and a lot of them have done. So it's lifting it gently, bit by bit, every few minutes, 10 minutes, a little bit more, a little bit more, and a little bit more, and then obviously the load slides to the back end, but then it's just got that pressure to blow it through. Right, and I think this is going to be the last one now, because I haven't got any more slides after this. But yeah, Mr. Lewis's Rugby Cement, he absolutely loved that lorry. And I think I mentioned it before in the previous video that this tank doesn't tip, it blows at higher pressure than the tipping one. So it's the same principle. Connect a hose up at the back into the customer's silo, and this is the donkey engine there, that's the donkey engine. Switch that on, and then watch the gauges. It's got gauges, and you watch it to get it up to the right pressure. When it is the right pressure, you then open your valves. Your valves are at the back. Let me see if I can I'm trying to point now. The valves are at the back there, so you open the valves. You need a mixture of air and product, so you've got to get that ratio right. Too much air and it blows too much air into the silo, it could do damage to the silo. And you don't want to put too little air in, because then there's a good chance you could block the pipes up. It needs a certain amount of air to go through with the product, and so you've got a smooth discharge into the customer's silo. That would, on a good silo, well maintained silo, would take about 20 minutes to unload. On a not so good silo, if you've got to pump it a long way and connect several hoses together, then it would take longer, you know, maybe double that amount of time. But anyway, that is the last one, so I'm just going to switch that off for a minute. And I'm going to just open the curtain. I've got the curtains closed. It's sunny outside. But anyway, I thought I would show you those. I'm going to now check it on the camera and hope that it's come out alright. But this is me and Queen, life after money, in the next episode of my trucking life. There is some more to come, because I'm not finished with the Lady Truckers Club yet, and about 2 or 3 more videos to come. So okay, see you next time, bye.